My first dividend payment was £29.93. That was May 2018. This month, my ISA has paid me over £1,000, and not for the first time. Same investor, same approach, same discipline, just time doing its job. Now in this video, I'm going to walk you through the stages of compounding. Not in theory, but using my own numbers, my own portfolio, and the moments that actually happened along the way. Because compounding looks simple on paper, but living through it is a very different experience. So I opened my stocks and shares account in May 2017, where I made my first actual investment on the 2nd of March 2018, £1,000 into Lloyds Banking Group, 1,460 shares, and then I waited until the 29th of May 2018. Nearly 3 months later, my first dividend landed, £29.93, and I remember thinking, is this it? Is this what compounding feels like? Yes, that is exactly what it feels like at the start. But here's the thing I understood quite quickly. Even those small numbers, if I could get a dividend every month, not just every quarter, then this starts to look less like an investment and more like a salary. So from very early on, I was deliberate about which stocks I bought. If a company paid its dividend in the same month as something I already held, I would look for one that paid it in a different month. The fundamentals still had to stack up, of course, but all else being equal, I wanted coverage across the calendar year. I was already thinking about this as a future monthly income before the numbers were anywhere near big enough to justify that kind of thinking. That mindset is stage one. You plant the seeds before anyone else can see the garden grow. Stage two, the framework. By 2019, I'd been investing for a couple of years. I had positions, I had dividends coming in, but I was still making decisions based on tips, trends, things that I'd read. 2019 was the year the income first, fundamentals-led framework became clear to me. Stop chasing price growth, build yield. I'd consistently reinvest, repeat. It sounds obvious now, but it did not feel obvious then. By February 2020, my book cost, the total amount I'd invested, was just under £33,000. Portfolio was up a modest 6.67%, not life-changing numbers, but the machine was running. And then the world stopped. February 2020, COVID hits the markets. Our portfolio went negative, and not by a little, by enough to make most people question everything. By October 2020, I was down 17%. Book cost was £66,000. Portfolio value was £54,000. That is over £11,000 sitting underwater. 14 months in negative territory. 14 months of opening my account and seeing nothing but red. But I did not sell. Not because I was fearless, because the dividends kept coming in. Companies I held were still paying. The income thesis was still intact. But I kept buying every month. Same process. Book cost went up. Portfolio value was down. But the income kept landing. By April 21, the portfolio was back in profit, 3.17%, and the book cost had grown to over £77,000. Most investors quit during stage 3. They see the drop, feel the fear, and sell at the worst possible moment. Stage 3 is where compounding either dies or gets stronger. There is no middle ground, and it is also where real wealth can be forged. By early 2022, I had been building this portfolio for 4 years. The stocks and shares account had grown to nearly £100,000, 30 plus holdings and dividends coming in every month. And then HMRC cut the dividend allowance. The amount you could receive in dividends before paying tax dropped, and the direction of travel was very clear to me. It was going to keep dropping. So on the 4th of March 2022, I opened my ISA and put in £12,000, and I transferred a cash ISA I'd been holding for years. And over the following weeks, I sold positions from the trading account and repurchased them inside the ISA wrapper. Same stocks, same conviction, just sheltered from the taxman. And then my first ISA dividend on the 1st of April, Persimmon, £36.25. Sound familiar? Back to small numbers again, just in a different account. But this time I had the experience. I knew what these numbers were going to become, and I knew every pound inside the ISA compounds completely tax-free. And that changes the math significantly over a 15-year horizon. By March 23, 12 months after opening, the ISA book cost was £41,690. Today, it's sitting at £160,865 invested, with a portfolio value of £180,929. That is a gain of over £20,000 before you even count a single dividend. The 2020 to 2021 tax year was the first time I received a dividend in every single month of the year. Total income across both my SIPP and my ISA, £3,372. Now that was meaningful, but it was still spread thin. A few hundred here, a few hundred there. Then May 2022, I received £1,826 in a single month across both my ISA and my SIPP. The first time I had broken the £1,000 mark. That is what compounding starts to feel like when it gets serious. 22, 23, 2 months over £1,000. 23, 24, 4 months over £1,000. And then most recently, 25, 26, I had 10 months paying over £1,000. Now 12 months over £1,000, that's still to come. Now that last bullet is important. I have not achieved 12 consecutive months at £1,000 or more yet. However, I'm telling you that because this channel is about the real journey, not a highlight reel. Every month that I stay the course, it moves that number forward. Stage 6, point at which the machine runs itself. Now let's speak specifically about my SIPP, because this one crept up on me. My SIPP sits at around £194,000, averaging roughly 5% per year. 14 more years of investing before I'm able to draw from that. At some point in the last year or so, I was going through the numbers, partly through conversations I was having about a workplace pension that I'm looking to transfer into my SIPP. Following this transfer, I realised that I do not need to put any more money into the SIPP. The yield, the time horizon, the reinvestment, it will do the work on its own now. No further cash input is required from me. Now that is a strange feeling if you've spent years in the habit of adding, but it is a good feeling because it means one of the goals has been reached. And then there was a second realisation which I was not expecting. The compounding inside a tax-free wrapper with consistent monthly additions is outpacing the SIPP's trajectory. Project Freedom, the point at which the ISA dividends cover my cost of living, is a realistic target within my planning horizon, and it can be taken the moment it reaches the target. That is what stage 6 looks like. Not a dramatic moment, not a single day when everything changes, just a quiet realisation the machine you build is now running on its own momentum. So £29.93. That was where it started. £1,000 a month in dividends, a portfolio approaching 400,000, a SIPP that no longer needs feeding, and an ISA that is on course to retire me. None of that has happened because I'm clever or lucky or had access to anything that you don't have. It happened because I stayed in. I kept adding. I let the dividends compound, and I did not quit when the numbers were small or when the market dropped and when it felt like nothing was happening. Most people quit before stage 4. The ones who do not, those are the people who end up in stage 6. If you are in the early stages right now, if your dividends are still in the low double digits and the whole thing feels like it's barely moving, then this video is for you. Trust me, keep going, stay in, the maths works. Trust the process, you just have to give it time. If you found this useful, please like and subscribe to the channel. Every week I try to upload new videos, and I'll see you next time. Bye bye now.